because the reason we're here tonight is that we've sort of hit this tipping point where the amount of available funding for our athletic program isn't adequate to sustain the program. And so that's kind of the big picture of this conversation. We're projecting that a total cost of operations at about, I'm just kind of unround number, but $807,000 to run the North Attleboro Athletic Department. So keep that number in mind. We have three sources of funds. We have the operating budget. So our operating budget, that's it. We have $494,000 in our operating budget. We then have user fees, and we currently charge $150 a sport with a $600 family cap. And then we have gate receipts. I lump that under outside revenue. So between user fees, this year we collected about $140,000 in user fees, and then we collected about $41,000 in gate receipts for a total of $181,000. So when you add the operating budget and the outside revenue, that's what we have to fund our athletic department. And those two total roughly $675,000. Cost us $807,000. We have $675,000 to fund it, leaves us with a deficit. It's a somewhat hypothetical deficit, only because I gave you an example of the uniform budget. We don't have a uniform budget, right? So it's a little, this 807 is a little higher than what we're currently spending today, right? Because we don't have the money. But our actual deficit this year, and Gil, correct me if I'm wrong on this, we're going to end fiscal year '24 with roughly a $65,000 to $75,000 deficit. So we have three options. Again, we have an operating deficit this year. We can maintain the status quo, and that, again, we've hit the tipping point, though. So that means that next year, at this time, we're going to have to find a pool of money to pay for it. Short and long term, I think we do need to look seriously at just adding more funds to the operating budget. It is atypical for a school district not to have a budget for things like equipment and transportation, kind of the basic cost of running an athletic program. So we could look towards that. That's more of a short/long-term thing. And then really the only other place to look is increasing user fees.
First one, do you have comps on user fees?
I do. We're low. So if you look at the Hockomock League, they range anywhere from the low end 150 all the way up to King Philip has a tiered fee structure, as low as 200 up to 500 depending on the sport. So we're low. So Attleboro has a $200 user fee. But we also know that they have, I think, 135. They have $135,000 in their operating budget for transportation and equipment, right? So when you look at comps, it's not just about the comp, it's really the combination of these three things I mentioned, right? User fee, outside revenue, right? User fees, gate receipts, operating budget, right? So we're low.
I'm not in favor of increasing user fees, given the fiscal environment right now. I think that would be asking a lot of folks.
Can I ask what sort of projections we've made in terms of like what does a user fee look like, a proposed user fee that would make us whole?
Roughly $100 increase would make us whole for now, right? Is it?
Yeah. Sport?
It's
Does
a little.
that touch the family cap, or?
We'd have to adjust the family cap too.
Do we have charge user fees for non-athletic events at the high school level?
So I was talking to someone about that today. So I don't know how many years ago this happened, but there was supposed to be an extracurricular fee, and I think there technically is. I can tell you it's never been implemented with any kind of fidelity.
So my thought process, just showing that even with a modest budget, I think the raising of an athletic fee, $100 doesn't sound unreasonable based on the current times we have. And if it turns out we have to come back and look at it, if there's some downgrading in sports participation, then we'll look at it from the operating budget side and raise the operating budget.
I really don't like the idea of kids who are actors not paying a fee and the athletes are, because you're penalizing the athletes. That's not fair at all. Either way, it's an extracurricular activity.
I mean, the Family ID registration does say that there's a fee for instrumental music, $75, or theater, each of the 3 productions you're going to do.
Yeah, that's, I see that, and I thought that was going on, so.
The fees are there, they've been implemented, but they're not collected or
Okay, yeah.
followed up on, because again, they're not coming to the table with a budget crisis or whatnot.
I made the motion
Second.
for, the motion to raise athletic fees to $250 per sport and $1,000 family cap.
Or is it for a specific, being revisited in a year? Is that part of this, or?
No. And the caveat that hockey has their separate fee.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? I'm a nay.
I'm a nay.
And any abstentions?
I just think it's the wrong number. So I'm a nay.
So we're 1, 2,
So it's
3,
a 3-3 and
We're
motion's
tied.
defeated.
So just to be clear, communication going out for fall sports registration, which is now for the next 2 months.
No change.
The user fee stays the same at $150, and